What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. Can you believe time is flying? What is this? February 13th. Wow. Valentine's Day is coming up for you. Whoever really, excited about Valentine's Day and stuff like that. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, and today is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder. She will be with us shortly. I hope you all had a wonderful day in New York. A truck, U-Haul truck, ran the curb and killed, injured 8 people and killed one person, I think, or in critical condition. Let me be factual with this. So let me get the sponsors out the way. We have Soft Illusions Art Gallery. We have Melba Wilson. We have Leon Ellis. We have Reggie Wells Quality Speakers. We have Deadly Arts and Survival Magazine and Ingram Taxes. I thank all of them for definitely supporting and showing love for Real Talk. That's a beautiful thing. I appreciate all of you chiming in and saying hello, which is very important to me, of course. And what's up, loving God? How are you? It's good to see you too. Appreciate you. Another balloon was shot down. 3 of them were shot down. We got a lot going on out here in this world, people. What else do we have going on? President talking about he wouldn't run for office again. What do we say about that? No, not the president. What's his name? Trump? Yeah, that's his name. He wants to run again. But we knew that. So what do we say about that? What's going on with you? I hope everybody is having a wonderful day, had a wonderful weekend. I did. It was very relaxing. The Super Bowl. Wow. Did you see the game? It was very good. Very good. I know for those in PA and Philadelphia, trust me, devastated. What can I say? It was a good ass game. Sharon, what's going on? How are you? Nicole, what's good evening? Yes, hello everybody. So of course we're waiting for the doc, and she'll be here shortly. Let me just make sure she's not caught up. She's working. She has her own practice, and you got to understand that. Yes, it was definitely a good game. Very exciting. What do you want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about? There's so much going on. Rest in peace. Happy birthday to those that are celebrating a birthday. And rest in peace to those that have transitioned. Pluck 2 passed away. 54 years old. I think he was 54. And who else? Oh, and the doctor's right here now. And speaking of the doctor, she coming in hot.
You see me?
What's going on, Doc? How are you?
I'm not good. Philadelphia, what happened?
Yeah, listen.
The referee needs glasses. Bad calls.
Yeah. When we talk about calls like that, I've been having debates with people on Facebook. I told people, it was like, oh, it was the right call. Yeah, we're not disputing that it was the right call. The guy said he held him. But what we're trying to say is the ball was uncatchable. It wasn't a catchable ball anyway. So now you throwing, and then that's the first holding penalty that you held on. Tell Fred I said, what's up? I see him in the back lurking. What's up, Fred? Fred, who was you going for yesterday, man?
Of course, Eagles.
There you go. Fly, Eagles, fly. But listen, the one thing I would say about Philly, and I'm sure DC is like this, the whole town was painted green. Like, they love their
the bird.
Oh, let me tell you something. I have never seen sportscasters and doing the news,
Yeah,
be so depressed.
I know.
The guys are like, no, I can't believe this. The bar's empty. We don't know what really happened. This is a terrible day. It was almost like it was a terrible day in Philadelphia.
I know.
So
I know.
they had officers, I know, were supposed to be working 12-hour shifts if they won. So I know some officers, I'm sure, are happy. I mean, I guess they wouldn't have mind because those Eagle faithfuls. But it was a great game for Black History
Now
Month.
I tell you, here's the deal. No
Mhm.
matter what, Jalen Hurts, his head should be high. 3 touchdowns. I mean, we watched that
Yeah,
day, and they played, and it was the first half was wonderful. Second half, but coming down the wire. But all I can say, and of course, I have to give it to
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes. I
Yeah,
mean, his ankle was hurt, so we got to give him some props. But
yeah,
that was Philadelphia's game to win.
yeah. It definitely was. I mean, like I said, hopefully we can get a repeat of that next year. Something
Oh
just
yeah.
as exciting like that. So, how are
So
you doing, Doc?
well, I'm okay. I'm actually okay. I'm still in the office, as you see.
Right.
Um, I It's cold. The weather sometimes is up and down, and
Yeah.
tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so we got to show love. But all I've been seeing is runny nose, ear infections, pneumonias. I'm showing love, giving the kids shots. We're up in here, but I got my little hearts on. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
So.
Hey, Doc, I want to ask you a question. I mean, of course, it's Black History Month, so I definitely want to talk about topics that are affecting people of color or anybody in general, because right now it seems like everything is affecting everybody. But can you, and shout out to the young man from Buffalo, the football player, I think his name was Darian, I forgot his name. It just slipped my mind.
Hamlin or whatever. Yeah, I
Yes,
understand.
Hamlin. Mm-hmm. But can you break down exactly what happened from a cardiac standpoint to what happened to him on that field, or just what a cardiac arrest is, anyway?
Well, yeah. So when you get a crush injury, that's what it was called. I mean, helmet hit, etc. You end up having it's like your heart goes into like a shock, and when your heart goes into shock, it's tamponized. It kind of overbeats, and then it doesn't beat, and then you have to get it to beating. So it's just trying to get it back in sync. So you have to do CPR, obviously, and you have to make sure that however long that period of time is for your heart to synchronize again, that you are on support. So what they ended up doing, obviously, he fell out, his heart went into a tamponade, and that's what we call it, where it beats fast and then it stops beating. So, and that's, like I said, like crush injury, someone who has a car accident and the steering wheel goes into their chest. So that was like the impact of that hit. And from there you're having problems because the circulation is not going where it needs to go, your brain, etc. It was wonderful to see him. And if nothing else, I don't know if he's going to ever play again, but if nothing else, it showed the world how, number one, dangerous football and a whole lot of sports are, and you have to respect them. I know they got $500 million, some of them annually, but they put their life out there on the line. And afterwards, each game thereafter, not just Buffalo, but each game thereafter, folks are like, "Oh, is he all right?" When they get hit, somebody falls down. Is he all right? Because they know what we witnessed 3-4 weeks ago.
Yes, yeah. What's so funny is that blunt, like you said, about like a steering wheel hitting the chest. Is that also like a forced blunt trauma? Somebody falls and or off a motorcycle or something like that. The body goes into shock or something like that.
Well, that's what. Yes, and enough is enough. It's almost like if you think of a concussion, but your heart had the concussion, your chest had the concussion, and instead of having a seizure of a concussion, it's your heart that began to be malfunctioning and dysfunctioning, and then from there needed to have the service and the support that they were readily available to give and to do. So of course, if it was going to happen, let it happen when everybody's there versus when you're just playing, weekend quarterback or whatever, playing, weekend warrior, and you out in somebody's yard and something like that happens.
Let me ask you a question. Can he well,
I don't know the answer. Can he ever play again? Now, I
Gotcha.
would not look. I tell you what, it'd be hard pressed for a cardiologist to clear him
Ooh, okay. Good.
after that, and everybody would be looking and tiptoeing on eggshells
Mhm.
around him. So
Mm.
they may not tackle him. Now that may be good for the team.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
They may
yeah,
say, "Well, leave that one alone. He might be getting all the touchdowns."
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Like, listen, don't touch that. Ain't nobody
But
trying to get.
they'll send him in for punt returns. Go on and
Nobody
get
trying
it.
to get that.
They
Nobody
not gonna
trying to get
bother
that.
you.
You know, shout out to everybody chiming in. If you like it, subscribe to it. Stefania says to you, she said, Dr. Corder, I had shin splints and used the CBD icy hot, and it saved me.
Girl, look, I got it right here. I feel like a commercial. I feel like the Super Bowl commercial. Don't leave home without it. Hey, look, don't go to sleep without it on your bedstand, because when you wake up and you in pain, this is the bomb.
Oh my goodness. Well, trust me, exactly. With these joints and bones clicking and clacking, I definitely will use some later on tonight.
I'm telling you, because we're like the Tin Man on the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
We got to get our limbs back to oiled up, and CBD. Besides, I had a sad case. CBD does it. I had a case today. It almost brought me to tears. One of my patients called, and she was my patient. She's now a mother of a young man who's got to be, well, she said 22. So
Hmm.
she calls me about her daughter at first. She said she has ADHD, and I want to get her evaluated for ADHD. Well, I had already told her some time ago that she did have ADHD. Don't look at that as a curse. You just have to give her support, resources, and understand that you have to keep her busy.
Hmm.
So we talked about that, and I told her we need to officially have the diagnosis, but that be careful with the medications. Again, CBD helps that versus Ritalin. So then she goes
Hmm.
on to tell me about her son who has how did she put it? How did she tell me? Oh, well, basically opioid addicted. And I'm like, I remember he was a baby. So I said, what do
Wow.
you mean? What do you mean he's on this? He's on this. She started describing all the stuff he was on. He's not working. So I said, he's a ticking time bomb.
Mm.
And so many young people. It's close to all of our hearts. Some we know somebody or know of somebody, but just to hear my pediatric patients who now, like I said, 22, and she said, I need to get him somewhere where he can get off of this. And I told her, yeah, because otherwise you're gonna be going to his funeral.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So many young people, our people.
You know, I was just looking at the news before we logged on, and it was saying how young teenage girls are dealing with depression more than I think anybody right now. I was just something, or they were saying that on Channel 7, uh, and I was like, wow, like you don't know how many people are dealing with depression or some kind of mental illness challenge. You know, I wanted to ask you about, of course, we lost a cousin on the other side, and you and I were talking from a medical standpoint, and then Anthony Anderson has been very outspoken recently because he lost a lot of weight. So people were looking like, "Whoa, what happened with him?" And he lost a lot of weight, and he said he's doing this because of diabetes. And
Right.
he also said that, and you confirmed it when I spoke to you. You was like, diabetes right now is like the number one cause for cardiac arrest.
Correct. Of a
Wow.
heart attack. And everybody always talk about um, you know, high blood pressure. Of course, you don't want high blood pressure, but he said it. Anthony Anderson said it. I guess it was a commercial that I
Yes.
saw,
Yes.
and he said it can cause heart attacks. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
was like, wow. I mean, can you uh explain why that is?
Hmm. Okay.
She said, yes, I can.
I went to med school. I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
No, but okay. So let's think about it. Okay, let's think about it. When you have diabetes, what is going on? Your sugar is low, it's high,
Right.
and it's called your glucose. So let's just think. Let's think about this. Let's think of a car. What if you put sugar in your gas tank? What's going to happen eventually? Everything is going to be affected. The engine, okay, the carburetors. I don't know all the parts of the car. I know parts of the car, but all of
Right.
it's going to get affected. Well, the same thing is your glucose is too high. Your body goes into a stress factor and is trying to get rid of it. And if you don't have enough insulin in your system to bring the glucose down, it affects people with it affects your brain. Some people have vision problems. Now think about, follow me through.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can be fatigued or dizzy and don't know why. And it's because your sugar is high. And then when you have that, the main center of pumping blood throughout your body, 70 sometimes a minute, but sometimes people have high rate of blood pumping in terms of pulse because 60 to 70 times a minute just doesn't get it. So some people have a pulse of 100 because what it would take 100 beats per minute to do what a normal heart rate 70 does. So that means your body's in crisis already. Okay.
Mm.
High sugar does that. Diabetes does that. And when it's doing that, it will, after a while, exhaust your whole body. It begins to cause heart failure where your heart is having to pump harder and work harder to push things through. Remember your kidneys. You need your kidneys for your heart to work. So if one's here up in terms of heart and down so many inches below is your kidneys. All of both of those at the same time, it's like double collateral damage can be affected. And that's what ends up causing you to have a heart attack. We call it cardiac arrest or a heart attack, where the heart muscles begin to give up. And some people have had heart attacks and don't know it. They may have had a little bit of a chest flutter, a discomfort. And when they go to the doctor and we do special tests called echo. We do EKGs. Okay, doesn't tell us like what we now know to do, echo, etc. And it turns out it can cause a heart attack faster than having high blood pressure for years.
Mm.
So, so it is, because guess what else diabetes does?
What's that?
It it blows your blood vessels. That's why the circulation, people often don't have
Limb?
circulation in their feet. I
Right.
have a young lady now who's getting ready to get her whole foot amputated because her foot, her circulation, what we call distal circulation, the blood vessels were clogged, and the healing, which interferes with your body, if you have a sore or whatever, healing, you can't, neuropathy, all of that's affected by diabetes.
Wow.
So,
So
so
diabetes is like the door to a whole lot of stuff, isn't it?
a doorway to death.
And especially in being transparent, and I'll definitely talk more to you about that because of course, I tell everybody I'm diabetic, and my doctor has talked to me about my kidneys. It's something about protein in the kidneys or something
That's
like that.
correct. When you see protein in the kidneys, your kidneys are beginning to be affected.
Right.
It's called proteinuria.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I'll talk to you about the medicine. I don't have it in front of me what he prescribed,
Mhm.
but now when we talk about losing weight, okay, Teddy had a question. He says, so scars. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Is that sarcoidosis or something like that
Sarcoidosis. So,
of the lungs?
you were close.
Yeah.
Sarcoidosis of the lungs. So sarcoidosis, like lupus, like like several other conditions, um, they're called autoimmune, which is a big
Mhm.
category. Autoimmune. If you break that down, your body fights itself. So some people who have lupus, where inflammation is everywhere from their kidneys to their lungs to their skin. Well, sarcoidosis primarily affects the lungs, and it's a inflammatory condition. So you have to be on certain medications, seeing a pulmonologist, etc. And it gives you nodules of the lungs. And some people don't even know they have sarcoidosis till they begin to have symptoms. Um, and mostly you see it in women. But I have two friends of mine who are male who have sarcoidosis. One just had a lung transplant. He was supposed to have a heart and lung transplant, but his heart
Mhm.
got better with the doctors down here in DC from Howard. But his lungs didn't. So he had a lung transplant up in Philly. As a matter of fact, he
Mm.
lives here, but he was up in Philly. So sarcoidosis is It's not a good illness to have. But if you do have it, make sure that you're doing several things: preserving your kidneys, preserving your lungs.
Teddy, I don't know if you have that. I know Teddy has, I think, asthma and some other stuff. But his question was, would CBD help or any other treatment? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to make sure in the chat you all have. Yeah, I can do this, right? Look, I'm very technologically. Hold on. I'm gonna
That's
text my email. Is that it? Okay. 14s. Hold on. At Yahoo. Hold on.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. I see my cousin Kendra is in the building. Of course, you know, Malika and I and Marilyn's heart all goes out to you in your transition of your father. And this was one of the things, too, when I spoke to your mother and we talked about diabetes. And she said, well, only thing Eldon had was diabetes. And, you know, he went into cardiac arrest. And, of course, I spoke to Marilyn about that. And then it brought light to, you know, diabetes and things of that magnitude. So, of course, cousin, that was on my mind. And I wanted to bring that up. And, you know, and then, like I said, I had just saw my doctor. And so really, what can people do? I mean, exercise is important, but exercise still can't stop everything, can it? Like,
you got to watch what you eat too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. You got to watch what you eat. And I mean, and I know that exercise helps. Yes, exercise helps. And do. Oh, I see. I can now see your folks. Like, I can see everybody here. Okay.
Yeah. You on YouTube now. Come on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Kendra said hi. Yes, he did. Thank you, and Dr. Corder for addressing this. Absolutely, because you know, one tragedy can maybe save somebody else's life, and we have to take it. And you know, myself too. You know what I'm saying? Because
I know it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when we talk about, you know, like you said, watch what you eat. Like I think, of course, smoking, if people smoke, right, or stuff like that.
Smoking, drinking, drinking, watching your glucose, getting your hemoglobin A1C check. It should never be over 7. I mean, you know, some of them in the teens. Take your natural things. Take your cinnamon. Take your Captivita. There are things that help. I'm not saying don't take the doctor's medication, but you can begin to do some natural things and helping yourself, such as walking, such as watching what you eat, such as exercising, you know, beyond walking, and just monitoring your body and monitoring your levels.
And you know, like I said, I'm gonna get to medicine in a few minutes. Everybody, that's Dr. Marilyn Corder, and I'm Bill Forster. This is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder, and we're gonna get Fred on soon again because Fred back there, we see him lingering back and forth.
I know.
Look at him. Hi. So, you know, please subscribe to it. Let the doctor know you love her and show some hearts. You know, we have to understand that there's so many different things, like to find out that like even Stefania said, some people lose limbs, and I think you mentioned that too. Is that because of poor blood circulation, the clots of
Yeah, after a while the tissue dies. If you don't, if and it's usually the distal ends. Hold on, I'm doing another text. I'm trying to give you all my email.
Okay. Are you doing it from the YouTube?
I don't know where I'm doing it from, baby. I'm doing it where it says you can talk.
In the exactly. Well, tell Fred or somebody, long as you on Real Talk, and I also
I think I did.
It's showing live, but we're definitely on YouTube. So if Fred goes into YouTube or something, if you're on YouTube, and type it in, that way you can save you some headache. Stefania says cinnamon pills helped get me out of the diabetic range. I was not playing. So
that's right. And you got to be consistent. And she wasn't playing. And look, it's like, don't let diabetes take you. You take diabetes out. You win this battle.
Right. It's so okay. I think I heard myself, so they might have it. Is diabetes and things like that hereditary?
Yes and no. Yes, it is. But you don't have to have a diabetic relative to be diabetic.
Right. Absolutely. Exactly.
But if you have some diabetes in your family, then you at risk even more. So
Right. Now I don't know. Now I think Dad on our side.
mm-hmm.
I don't think any of our parents had diabetes, right? We just had like high blood pressure, stuff like that, and
High blood
cancer.
pressure.
Yeah, but on my mother's side,
My father's side, but
your
opposite
father's
side
side, right? Right.
had
Yeah.
diabetes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, if there's any questions for the doctor, please put them in there. This is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder. Please subscribe to it. Let people know you're watching. Anything other uh, things out there in the medical field you want to put? Because, like I said, I'm about to get this medicine and find out what this other thing too. Because, like diabetes can cause high blood pressure too, can it, or something like that?
Yeah, but anything that affects your kidneys, because that's where hypertension. If your kidneys are beginning to fail, that's going to automatically take your blood pressure up. So, and then anything that affects your vessels. And Kendra knows that is she's in the field, medical field.
Yeah.
All those things begin to pull on and aggravate your cardiovascular system if it's blocking it or causing problems. Going back to, I think it was Stefania, a lot of people, we talk about losing your limbs, um, which are usually your toe, your foot, your leg, but we also need to talk about losing your kidneys. Diabetes, after a while, uncontrolled, you will be in a chair 3 days a week called dialysis. Not in your rocking chair, not in your lounge chair, going to a center, and they have to put a port in up under your skin. And what that port is, it's a way that they can totally. It's almost like just having a total blood exchange, because that sugar, that diabetes in your kidneys filter and cleans your body of things. And if you don't have good renal function, kidney function from proteinuria, etc., and building up, then you artificially, your kidneys will not be working, and then the function of your kidneys will be done by dialysis. And that's when you're sitting in a chair 3 or 4 hours, and dialysis can kill you. You can have folks, I've had so many stories in the ER, etc., when people are on dialysis and then have to go to the emergency room, because that's a traumatic event each time you're sitting in a chair with all of that exchange. Not trying to, and of course, those who go to dialysis, I'm not
No.
trying to scare you. I'm just saying, just take it seriously and make sure that you let them know when you're lightheaded. If you are lightheaded, make sure that let them know your symptoms, because sometimes things can be a little bit off balance while you're on dialysis, and that's 2 to 3 times a week, because your kidneys are working 24/7. So you can't be on the machine forever, but every 2 to 3 days you need to get your system flushed out.
Wow. Let me just read some comments. Shout out to Nicole. She said, "Good evening, Dr. Corder." She said she has a log off, but I think she'll be back. But she says, "I wanted to say thank you. I truly enjoyed listening in. Can you please discuss pre-diabetes to everyone? Then we could talk about that." And then my man Marshall was in the building. He says, "Can she talk about fatty liver?" And then,
Oh, okay.
wow. And then Stefania also says, "So go ahead. Well, I'll start with whichever one you want to discuss first, from the pre-diabetes to then we can go to the fatty liver."
Okay, so pre-diabetes, and that's what it is. It's pre. So it's kind of like your, how should I say? It's like your body is knocking on the door of diabetes, and you begin to show some things, such as your hemoglobin A1C beginning to rise from 6.0 higher, and your kidneys, your urine will show some signs of protein, extra protein, as well as you then have to do what we call metformin. Metformin often is, you can reverse. Let me start. You can reverse diabetes, pre-diabetes, by doing the right thing, eating better, exercising, losing weight. Those are the three triads of what the doctors will tell you. Eat better, watch what you eat. Okay, stop smoking, and begin to exercise and losing weight. Often pre-diabetics is what we call weight management and weight control, and then you lose weight and it's gone. And they
Yeah.
draw your blood again. They tell you to come back in 3 months or so. Unfortunately, most of the people who are pre-diabetic go into diabetes, become a diabetic, official diabetic.
It wasn't until exactly. So you're so right. I mean, I knew that anyway, but I just wanted to definitely put a check on that because it was before the pandemic. I was pre-diabetic. Once the pandemic came and shut me down from really going out and exercising and moving around, next thing you know, I go back to see the doctor. He was like, "No, you got it." I was like, "Oh." So you know, I mean, those are the things that you know people need to take heed to. You know, I stress it. You know, I tried, like I said, now you know to be more have my due diligence and definitely trying to exercise, walking, or whatever it is that you can do, or something of that magnitude. Stefania said, "Yeah, my best friend's uncle was on dialysis for 30 years until he passed away." Mark said, "I watched my mother lose 3 limbs. It was one of the most disturbing things I had to deal with in my 20s. Cancer sucks and diabetes is a mofo." Absolutely. Yeah. Stefania said it's also it's a slow deterioration. Mark also said, "Thank you, doctor, for your education." Absolutely, everybody. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. So if you want to go into the fatty liver, I don't know what that is.
You know, years ago, first of all, this is kind of new. When I say new to the medical community, most people, when they talk about liver or inflammation of the liver, they're thinking, oh, it must be an alcoholic. And you hear cirrhosis of the liver, etc. But that's not the case in fatty liver. Fatty liver is an inflammation of the liver that's non-alcoholic caused. Okay, because alcoholism causes inflammation of the liver as well, because that's where things are metabolized, and unfortunately, alcohol attacks the liver. Excessive drinking, chronic drinking as well. So we did not realize how, when I say we, the medical field just began to realize about fatty liver. And sometimes it takes years for the symptoms to occur. You'll hear about enlarged spleen, blood vessels, abdominal swelling, etc. Some people have pain, and when they begin to see what's going on with the liver, they will then realize that that there's inflammation of the liver. Now, many people will tell you fatty liver causes cancer. That inflammation, fatty liver, leads to cancer of the liver versus any other type of problem. So some people say, can you reverse it once you know it? So let me tell you how you find out, how you can tell if you have fatty liver. There's an abdominal ultrasound, which is often the initial test when someone suspects fatty liver. And then they do a CT scan or MRI that also will tell what's going on, and understand the function or the liver function. And you have to also understand that there are things that medications are metabolized in the liver, birth control pills are metabolized, seizure medicine. So there are things, when you read about fatty liver, when you read about certain medications, nowhere is metabolized. Some in the kidneys, some in the liver. So the stages, let me talk about the stages of fatty liver. Okay. Sure. Stage 1, it's a big word called simple fatty liver, but the big word is steatosis. And that's in the stage where there is largely a harmless buildup of fat in the liver, but not to extent of causing symptoms. So stage 2 is more serious form of if we call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So they even have initials, NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And it occurs when the liver cells begin to become damaged due to the inflammation. So people will say, well, when you're fat, you have a major increased chance of having fatty liver. Well, that doesn't mean that everybody who's fat is going to have fatty liver, but we do see a correlation to that. So the different doctors, called the GI doctors, will talk about fatty liver, where you might see bruising, extra bruising, yellow discoloration, jaundice, accumulation of fluid around your abdomen, things that your liver is supposed to do, it stops doing. And so you got kidney problems with diabetes, and you got fatty liver. You can have somebody with fatty liver who also is diabetic, who also has hypertension. Wow. And we disproportionately have all of that, people of color.
Wow.
And some people, you'll hear, we have a naturopathic doctor who says we need to do a liver cleanse, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. It's almost like exercising your liver. But I do know you have to watch those things that are metabolized in the liver, such again as alcohol, such as different medications. But you cannot abuse your liver because people die from liver disease. And then, not to mention, if you've had COVID, we now know COVID attacks the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the brain.
Wow. So, you can't stress enough how important the liver and the kidneys are to people. Correct?
Yeah, you can. No matter how rich you are. What's the football player that jumped in line with the liver transplant?
What was it? Was it the basketball player too? I know. I think, was it Alonzo Mourning or was it a heart or something?
Okay, Alonzo is kidney because I know him
kidney.
from Georgetown. Alonzo is kidney. What's his name, Fred? Okay. No. It was okay. What his first was it Walt? We don't know.
Oh, Walter Payton.
There you go, Walter Payton. Yeah.
Come on, Fred.
Okay. Walter Payton.
Yeah.
So so when you hear about liver and you're like, whoa, that's not a good thing. Pancreas either. That's not a good thing.
You know what's so funny? I think somebody put up a post recently about having stage 4 cancer but beating it. Is there certain stage 4 cancers that can be beat, or is it stage 4 cancer like?
We stage things in medicine.
Right.
But all I can say is as we stage it, it's only God, you can die from stage 2, I feel. But stage 4 is more, no matter where it is, that means it's more progressive.
Yes.
And often causes metastasis, meaning it goes to another part of your body, be it the lymph nodes, be it your liver, kidneys, lungs, etc.
Let me ask you a question. It's so funny. I guess maybe you're paying attention to it more. I'm paying attention to it more
because we're getting older.
Yes, that. But then also when it comes to women with breast cancer, it seems like that's a big thing. Is that?
Let me say something to you. All you ladies, listen. And all you men who have loved ones who are female, listen. They've associated. Now, I did a talk 10 years ago down in Annapolis. And we talked about nail polish with formaldehyde causing cancer of the breast. Your arm is connected to what? Your up and your upper. Your arm is connected to your chest. Okay.
Yeah.
And the circulation, those things that you're putting all that polish on your nails are porous. And often when you go into those salons, they be like, they have their mask on. They said, you like design. But they're doing, they scrubbing down your nail, putting all that stuff on it, and they opening up those pores and they putting formaldehyde on your nails. Now I'm gonna get to the light in a few minutes, ultraviolet, and they putting all that. They got the mask and all that, and it's smelling crazy. It's looking good. You're going out looking good, and those toxins begin to get into your bloodstream and your lymphatics, and it goes into your breast. We talked about deodorant. That's true. That antiperspirant that we have in the deodorants.
Yeah, you got Malika with this damn Toms all over this damn house.
Okay, that's right. She may be smelling a little bit sometimes because it don't hold, but it's okay. I'd rather be alive and a little bit smelly than smelling all good in the casket. Well,
it was so funny the other day. One day she said, Marilyn said, I said, girl, don't go on and go ahead and put some deodorant on your ass. Go ahead, get out. I don't want to hear about the damn Marilyn. we got a long, Marilyn. I was like, we got a long day. Don't play with me.
Years ago we had baking soda. We had
exactly.
Okay, we had stuff that you could cook with up on our arms. But yeah, Marilyn said that's right, Malika. We're gonna be 104 years old still talking.
Exactly.
But let's go back to why we see more. So we getting our nails done. We paying hundreds of dollars or $50, and then we going the gel. That's what it's called, the gel. You put your hands under this light.
Right.
And then they pull it out. Then they put some stuff more on it. And they put your hands under. Well, that UV light, if you pull it up, just recently they said is associated with cancer, skin cancer. So if it's skin cancer and you got the nail polish that's going into your body, then you're talking one of the reasons we see a lot more cancer, breast cancer. Now we do test more and we do screen more, but we are seeing more, especially in us, women of color.
Wow. That's Real Talk, everybody. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. I'm Bill Forster. If you like it, subscribe to it, share it, tell somebody. Diane said, "Oh my God, someone just told me about this, about the nails." And Stefania says, "I use, is it Thai Crystal deodorant?"
Yes, the crystal. Girl, Stefania, you are on it. That's right. It's the crystal. You can get it from BJ's, Costco, but it's the natural deodorant. And if you stop using it, a lot of deodorant, you don't, most of the time after a certain age, you don't need to use deodorant every day. And those that do, you need to use a natural deodorant. Okay. And then the sad thing is so many of the young people, they're shaving under their arms too aggressively, too much. Right after they shave, they put in this aluminum under there in terms of the deodorant right away when the pores are open maximally. Now you got me for another 10 minutes, Bill. So you better hit me with questions. I got to go home.
Everybody, listen. If y'all got questions for Dr. Marilyn Corder, please write them in. If you don't call me later. Talk about can you ask her, because you have to see her next month. Malika and I the only ones got the hotline to the doc. Doc, is there anything? They add. Diane said, "What about Brazilian waxing?"
That's better. That's actually better. Okay, because that's just waxing as opposed to chemical. So that's better. You don't need to do a whole lot of that because that ouchies. Ouch. But Brazilian wax is better than the other things that they do.
Well, ladies, listen. I know Doctor giving y'all some good information, but if y'all single, don't mess around and don't wear any deodorant and get your nails done because you're gonna be lonely at home.
That's all right. Y'all be living to tell the story. So,
I know. I'm just playing.
You
gotta throw some humor. Gotta throw some humor into it.
Be natural. It's okay.
Listen, let's go back to Africa all together. Absolutely.
Well, the perms, don't do perms. I've been natural for 15, 20 years now. And the relaxers, they're now having lawsuits where the relaxers, be it lie or not lie, but the relaxers has caused uterine reproductive cancers, from ovaries to uterus, uterine cancer, fibroids, all of the above.
Wow. Is there anything you want to talk about in your remaining minutes? Anything topic that you want to discuss? Because the bottom line is, I think these are things that were on point. I see you, Carissa. Condolences to you too. That's Kendra's sister, of course. Always sending love. Big cousins here if you ever need me. Dr. Corder, what are your thoughts on when protein, whey protein powder, WHEY?
Whey. You got to be careful with the excess protein. Lots of advertisement about protein and bodybuilding and muscle building. But now pay attention to this. Remember, in the beginning of this talk, we talked about proteinuria, excess protein when your kidneys are beginning to be stressed and you see the protein in your urine. If you're overloading your kidneys with protein, your body with protein, that's what is called bombarding your renal system, your kidneys, and can begin to aggravate it. So you don't want to do a lot of that. I had a couple of patients of mine who were working out, etc. And I do routine testing for certain things, for everything, and part of it is a urinalysis. And we begin to see proteins in their urine. So we're like, what is going on? And like, oh yeah, I take this protein shake, I'm building up, etc. I'm like, you know what? All you're doing is destroying your kidneys, and you need your kidneys. You won't be able to do anything if you can't, if you're sitting in a dialysis chair, if you're getting weak and blowing your kidneys. So you have to be careful in moderation. That's why that Atkins diet, I don't know if any of you old enough, the Atkins diet that was meat, eat all this meat, people were beginning to go into kidney failure because of the excess, overwhelming demand of protein, digestion of protein on their bodies.
I remember I did the Atkins. I did the Atkins diet in 1999, I think, or 2000. Yeah,
right. About 20 some years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Look at Fred in there. Diane says, "Is there a natural nail polish you recommend?"
There are some naturals. I don't have the name with you, but that's perfect because people say, well, I still want to polish my nail. Save some money. Do your own polish. Y'all go have your buddy put a polish on whoever has a steady hand, right? but
Exactly.
but there are if you Google natural nail polishes, okay? But and
Okay.
that's important. And some people you can take your polish to the nail salon and tell them use this. You know
Yeah.
how they say pick your
Yeah.
polish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already
Use
got it. I already picked it. How about
okay.
that?
I
I'm
brought
picked
it
this.
in. Okay.
Stefania says, and also green powder. Um, I just started taking green powder mixed with collagen.
Oh, that's good. That's okay. That's
Stefania,
okay.
you a hot mess. You on it, girl. You
Right.
on it.
Wow. She needs to be your guest.
Yeah, definitely. But Stefania knows she always been welcome. She playing. Uh, Marshall, he says, my wife had cancer in 2016. She recently started detoxing again, and the water was very dark. How long does lemon stay in the body?
Lemon stays in your body. Interestingly, I mean that's a citric. Okay, that's acidic. So if you're doing lemon and you're doing water, diluting it, etc. If you're talking to take, let's say, a lemon drink, a lemon detox in the morning, the warm lemon, it stays 12 hours plus. Um, but the effects of it is what you want and what you're asking in terms of how it breaks down different things in terms of fat, in terms of detoxing. So a little bit of lemon in your water is fine. And it doesn't stay long, but at least when it's there, it begins to do a positive effect on your body, and it detoxes. So it drags the stuff out. It
He
drags
said,
the stuff
Kemp.
out.
What is
Kemp.
Kemp? Yeah.
Oh, Kemp is like seaweed.
Okay.
Kemp
Okay.
is
And chemo, Kemo. I'm pronouncing it right.
so. I'm not sure what that is. When I say I'm not sure, I know Kemp. There's certain natural greenery, chlorophyll, Kemp, seaweed, etc. And that's good. And then everything is green. It helps your digestion. It helps your alertness. It helps your red blood cell carry oxygen. It really does a good job on your body. And you get used to the taste. Some people don't like the taste. And it's almost like you smell minty. And it begins to correct those cells and reverse what we call, how should atypical cells. Atypical cells are cells that are not yet cancer, but have been traumatized, and free radicals is really the term we used to use, but now we're talking atypical cells.
Okay. Everybody, that's Dr. Marilyn Corder. I think her time is coming to an end real soon. Doc, anything you want to tell the people positive, anything positive? Black History Month. Our history is every month, though. A lot of people get it twisted.
Right.
They
We
got
are
it.
history. We are
Yeah.
U.S. history. Us.
Yeah.
Huh. Um. Well, just know your history. I went down on Martin Luther King Day. We were down at the memorial because we're right here with it, and
Mm-hmm.
we were just telling people, this is nice on his day, but you need to know what the leaders read to yourself, read to your relatives, be aware. Do a quiz, like this is tidbits. Just send around with your group instead of just sitting on social media. Send some lists, send some updates. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? We did that on our show, and we talk about famous people, and they don't have to be famous people who invented things, but then folks that are working on things as we speak, um, and making history. Yesterday was history, so
Yes.
we have history real time.
Yes.
So that's
Absolutely.
that's it. And going back to your roots, going back to some basic stuff. Natural hair. I love. Now I will see some of those Instagrams or TikTok, whatever, where the young ladies are using different products that are natural products that with the natural hair and the curl and the coil, and the young people are doing it, and they're becoming more aware, and hopefully they will allow critical race theory and the things that they need to know about that is our history in the schools. So I just want to first of all say hey to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We
Absolutely.
talk about everything. Thank you, Cuz, for keeping it real
All the
with
time.
your Real Talk Chronicles.
Absolutely.
Um, and I will be seeing you all next month, but don't be surprised if I pop in on your other
Yeah,
broadcast.
absolutely. And cuz tell them where they can uh
Hear me. Radio
absolutely.
One. That's and if you're in the DMV, that's WOL 1450 AM or 95.2 FM. That's Radio One, Kathy Hughes. I have my own show, 20 some years now, every
Mhm.
Saturday, 3 to 4 Eastern Standard Time. And we talk about everything. We talk about everything.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and you often look and my cousin, Bill
That's
Foster
it.
is often one of our guests, especially for law enforcement and
Exactly,
different
especially
things.
when it comes. I'm the expert for that show, everybody.
Yes,
That's what she
yes.
calls me. Radio One every Saturday. Tell us, Stefania. Um, Rochelle said, my mom boiled flaxseed for us. Um, Living God, I know this might be a long question, and you might not be able to answer it right now. He says, what's the progress on reparations where you are at, Dr. Corder?
That's another show. That
Exactly.
that's
That's another
and
show.
that, and that but that's a very important topic. That's a whole nother
Loving
show.
God brings them good questions.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, living God. That's a whole where I am. Well, let me just
Wow.
say, not much progress.
Right. Right.
I'll stop it. I'll say that in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
yeah, another show will come back, and then one day we're gonna have to bring Fred on. For Valentine's Day. Listen, I don't, Fred, I don't want you to get in trouble, so I don't
But
want.
he's down the hall. He's down the hall. But I'll tell him, look, what you want to tell him? Bring me a dozen flowers. Take me out to
Hey,
dinner.
listen,
Yeah.
I've been together with how many years? 40 some years.
I was just going to tell you since 1979. So
Right,
that's 44 years this year.
exactly. That's when. Wow, that's when
That's a
Grandma
long
passed
time.
away. That's when it wasn't that when Grandma passed away. 79, right? No, I thought she
Yeah,
passed.
mama passed away January of 1979. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Because I
Hmm.
remember I was getting out of school. Yeah,
Right.
exactly at that
And
time. Yep.
we're talking about how long we've been together. We got married that August. Yep.
Yes, yes, I remember that. Yep,
Uh-huh.
exactly. So he
Right.
already know what to do. Talk about milestone. Absolutely. When you
Yeah.
guys are in the car, call me so we can talk about that other medicine I told you they prescribed. Look at him. Look at
Okay.
it. Yeah, because
Okay.
I.
I'll call you.
All right,
All right.
everybody. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. Give her some hearts. Yeah, 44 exactly.
All
Appreciate
right.
you. I'll talk to you in a few.
Okay.
Definitely.
Take care.
All
See you
right,
guys. Bye-bye.
everybody. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. Please tune in with us for Wednesday. We'll definitely be talking about it. Stefania, I know you want to talk about DeSantis and Trump. We will definitely touch that topic. Any other topics that you guys want to talk about? I'm always willing. Thank you, Diane. Good night and God bless. Absolutely. I love bringing Doctor to you guys. It's blessing to have her as a cousin. And when I started doing Real Talk, and then I had on as a because she's been on Oprah, Steve Harvey. She sits on so many boards. And you can Google her. Both of her and her husband, they were renowned doctors, and uh, you know, I'm blessed to have them in my family, and I wanted to share that. And this is our way of giving back to our village and just people that we know and care. So we both take our platforms. Yeah, exactly. Um, so I appreciate you all. Tune in Wednesday. My panel and I will have something to talk about. Any topics. You know, listen, we're gonna have to try to get Fred to come on too. On one of them open nights and stuff, so he can talk. Cause I love seeing him talk doctor stuff, and that was a joke. One time, Fred was in Maryland was going at it, and I said, "All right, Fred, don't get in trouble now." she told him, "Don't get in trouble," So it's all love. Yep, definitely. Thank you all. Thank you. Um, Sending the heart. I'm Bill Forster. Please share it, subscribe to it, let people know when you heard this information at let them know Real Talk Chronicles. Let's build it up. Let's keep it going. And I will talk to you Wednesday. Peace and love. Listen, foster the moment with positive vibes only. I'm out. And see, though, I'll see some of you Saturday. You know what time it is, the brunch party. Beautiful people, we in the building. Foster, you would be a great big brother in the Catholic Big Brother, Big Sister program. Let me know about it. I don't have any problems doing stuff like that. Anybody that knows me, I don't have any problems mentoring. So let me know more about that, loving God. Uh, Ramona, what's going on? How are you, everybody? Now we're getting out of here. Doc is gone. I'm going. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something. Eddie Vera, you come from a house of learned doctors. Absolutely, my man. That's my brother Eddie Vieira in the building. That's what we do. So I will talk to you all Wednesday. Peace and love.